Good morning, groovy citizens, and happy Saturday to each and every one of you. I hope you all have had a wonderful week, a productive week, but a wonderful week nonetheless. So if you haven't already done so, make sure you get out, get your errands done so you can sit back and just relax the rest of the day. Because I don't know about you all, but after I do this video, I have a couple of things that I'm going to do while this video is uploading, and then I'm going to take me a little power nap. But I do have some things I need to do because I have to get today's podcast recorded. I need to get another chapter in the book that I'm working on written, and I have a new project, you guys. I'm so excited about it, but I can't tell you until it is done. I'm not even going to tell you. I'm going to wait till it's completely done, and then I will show you this new project that I am working on. Speaking of projects, I did not realize that about a year ago, I guess it was, I wrote you all know I have a 21-day gratitude journal. Make sure you get your copy. The link is in the description box where you can go to Amazon and get it. But I did not realize that I also wrote a prayer journal. And I think it's like 190-day or 191-day prayer journal. I did not even realize that I wrote that. And I think I did that like in a weekend. I was just writing, because I'm one of these people, once I get started, honey, I get going and that's it. And I said, oh my goodness, I forgot I even wrote this. So I need to work on a cover for that so that I can get that uploaded into Amazon and get that out there for you all to purchase as well. And it will be a hardcover book because you actually write in it. And so, yeah, I'm excited about that, you guys. I'm not even sure if I have a name for it, come to think of it. I'll look some point in time today or maybe even tomorrow, but I will definitely look for that. Now, before I move any further, I feel like my jacket is twisted and off kilter here. Anyway, it is cold, y'all. It's 41 degrees. It's an overcast day, and it's one of those days you just want to sit in the house with a hot drink, a shawl on, and just watch Netflix movies, okay? I don't know about you all, but that's probably what I'm going to do. I do have to run past my sisters, but other than that, my behind will be in the house relaxing. So, y'all, let's jump into today's topic, because this is a topic that I could not wait to share with you all. You hear what I'm saying? Today's topic is pain is not permanent. 4 little words. I'm going to say it one more time in case you missed it. Pain is not permanent. Come on, somebody. Y'all, that ought to shout you right there, just the title by itself. So this quote that I'm going to share with you all is, the first quote is, the person's unknown. I'm not sure who the guy was that was giving this quote, but I just love this quote and I couldn't wait to share it with you. And he says, life can throw you some curves. And it's not just the things that you see coming, but sometimes it's the things that you didn't see coming that hit you out of nowhere, that set you back in such a way that it seems like you can't get over, and you've reached your limit and your bandwidth is full, and you already said, I can't take another thing. And then out of nowhere, here comes something that you didn't see coming, and you're in it, and in your homes, somewhere in your heart, these words are echoing, am I going to make it? Y'all, that is powerful. I don't know about you, but I can honestly say that I have had a time or two in my life where I felt that way, and I felt like, Lord, am I going to make it? How am I going to get through this, Lord? And especially, like I said, when something hits you out of nowhere, you didn't see it coming. It could be a relationship that didn't work out. It could be a job opportunity that didn't work out. It could be, your car just not that wants to act a plumb fool. It could be something in your home breaking down. It doesn't matter what it is, but it's that thing that hits you out of nowhere. See, it's one thing if I know it's coming, then I can kind of prepare for it. It doesn't make it necessarily easier, because you still have to deal with whatever that thing is. But when you know it's coming, you can prepare yourself, if you will, for it. But those things that smack you upside of the head and they just come from nowhere, those are the things that really get you. Those are the things that really, really get you because you didn't see them coming and you could not prepare for them. But one thing that I do know, one thing's for certain, two things for sure, and that is that I serve a God, you serve a God, we serve a God that is so big that, and he's all knowing, that he knew that that thing was going to come from out of nowhere. You didn't know it was coming. Oh, but God knew it was coming. He knew it was coming, and he's already prepared for dealing with. See, God knows things that are going to come up for each and every one of us next week. You don't know what it is. I may not know what it is, but God knows. And he has already decided that we are going to overcome whatever that thing is. And he's already prepared those things that you're going to need to get through whatever that issue or those issues are. So that's why I don't worry about, some people like to know. I used to be that person where I wanted to know everything. I needed to know because I needed to prepare. But when I realized, Michelle, that's what faith is. Faith says that I trust that God is going to be a man of his word when he says that he will never leave us nor forsake us. So I don't need to know what's coming because I know that God already knows and he's already preparing me for whatever that thing is. But I digress. But we all have had that point in time we said, am I going to make it? It doesn't matter what it is, how big it was. You've thought that. And guess what? You made it. Because look at you, you're still here. You got through that thing. Heck, you'd have been through several things and said the same thing, and you are still here. So guess what? If God did it for you once, he will do it again. Okay, think about that. This next quote that I'm going to share with you is by Les Brown. And he says, when you get into a tight spot and everything goes against you until it seems that you cannot hold on for a minute longer, never give up then. For that is just the place and time that the tide will turn. There are times when your energy feels so depleted that you'll want to give up, that it looks just totally impossible. He says, and I can tell you from my own personal experience, don't give up then. He said, that's when you've got to fall forward. Remember just yesterday I was talking about falling forward. When life is kicking dirt in your face, don't give up then. That's when most people turn back. And so, like I said, this just goes back to talk about what I shared with you all yesterday about if you got to fall forward. That's what Denzel Washington says. Don't fall back. See, when we have that thing or those things to fall back on, we don't push as hard to keep going forward because you know that you have something or someone behind you that's going to be there to catch you. So if you got to fall, sweetie, I need you to fall forward. And that's exactly what Les Brown, talked about. He was talking about how when it seems like nothing good is going to happen for you, it seems like everything that you touch turns to you know what. He said, don't even give up then. When it looks like all is lost and you're never, ever, ever going to get to the next level, don't give up then. That's when you need to keep pushing forward so that you can fall forward. When some people want to give up when dirt is kicked in their face, I can certainly understand why you would want to. But even then, you brush yourself off and you fall forward. Keep pushing forward. Falling back is not an option, you guys. We have got to keep pushing forward. And there are going to be some, what's that saying? These are times that try men's souls, or I'm going to say, or women's souls. That is so true. That is so, so true. But the thing is that you've got to say, okay, you know what? I see you. Yeah, I see you. But I serve a big God. I serve a God that sits high and he looks low. I serve a God who makes his blessings and his mercies new to me every day that I wake up. He doesn't say, all right, Michelle, well, you still have X number of blessings and X number of mercies from the day before. It's Thursday, so you still have so many of each of those left for this week. No, he says they are made new every single day. So I know that whatever it is that I've had to deal with, which I didn't have to deal with too much of anything yesterday, but if I had to deal with something on yesterday, that's all right, because today is a new day. My slate is wiped clean every single day that God allows me to wake up. Do you all understand that? And it's not just me, it's the same with you. So you've got to say, okay, this is a new day. Yesterday didn't work out so well, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep pushing forward. I'm going to keep trying, because I'm determined that I am going to win. This next quote is unknown, and the gentleman, he says, as long as you're alive, there is hope. I need to say that again, because somebody in the back of the room didn't quite hear me. As long as you are alive, as long as I am alive, as long as we are alive, there is still hope. And don't you ever forget that. He says, you're still alive. You're still here. It's never too late, that it's never too dark, and we can always turn things around. There's going to be bad days, but you got to embrace it, because that pain is what makes you stronger. Pain is the high cost of growth. Come on, somebody. That ought to shout you right there. That ought to shout you. That's your shouting moment right there, and you missed it. Pain is the highest cost of growth. In order to grow, you've got to deal with some pain. But that's a whole nother video for a whole nother time. He says, if you want to grow up, you want to be mature, there's no way to do it without pain. You can't grow up on easy street, and the very thing that discourages you is the very thing that develops you. Come on, somebody. The very thing that discourages you is that same thing that's going to help develop you. Y'all, I wish I had time to really unpack that, but you get where I'm going with that. In order to experience some growth, you've got to experience some pain. It's just like when you start dating, right? You started dating. If you're a little boy, you started meeting girls. Little girls, you start meeting little boys. And then the first time somebody broke your heart, oh Lord, that's all a part of growth. See, the relationships you had when you were in elementary school are not the same ones that you have when you get in high school or get out of high school, or you're in your 20s or your 30s. They're not the same type of relationships. So that when that relationship doesn't work out, that hurt hits a little differently. But it's all a part of growing older and maturing. You're going to go through some things. I didn't experience my first heartbreak till I was in my 20s. And Lord, I thought the world was going to come to a complete end, because that's what it felt like inside of my heart. It felt like it had come to a complete end. I said, Lord, have mercy. I don't ever want to experience this again, because it was hard. It truly was hard, but it's all about growing, getting older. As we get older, we experience new things. Yes. Now, if you don't want to experience any pain or any discomfort, you can stay the 12-year-old that you were years ago. I don't know how that's going to work out for you, but in order to grow, you're going to have to go through some stuff. This next quote is by, it's also unknown. It says, no one's coming to save you. The only person that's going to make a drastic change in your life, whether that's physically, mentally, I don't know why I was struggling with that word. I told you I was my handwriting. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the only person that is going to dig you out of your hole is you. Now, I know this is the quote that the gentleman said, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I beg to differ with him, because when you need someone to help you out physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, it's not just you that's going to dig yourself out of that hole, it's God. Come on now. I put my trust and my faith in God, and I know that God can get me out of any situation I've gotten myself into. He may let me go through some stuff, but I know that he is the one that's going to get me out of that hole. I'm not relying on Michelle just in and of myself. No, I'm not. And I would suggest that you not rely just on you either. But I digress. Next quote, Les Brown. He says, you've got to do it for you. You've got to become courageous to stand up within yourself, to face it and step forward. You know, when life gets heavy for us, a lot of times it is so easy to just throw your hands up and say, okay, you know what? I'm done. I can't do this anymore. It's too much. It is. It's easy to do that. But when you don't realize it, well, maybe you do. But let me say this. You've got people counting on you. And I've talked about this before. You have people counting on you. You have people in your family. Somebody in your family right now is looking at you saying, you know what? You are the first person in this family that's done ABC, XYZ. You've got somebody in your family that's going through some stuff, and they're only able to hang on because they watch how you have gone through some stuff. And they say, wow, you know what? I've watched how Barbara handled her divorce, and I know if she can do it, I can make it through as well. You may have Jonathan, who's going through a slump in his business, but he knows that Uncle Bob experienced the same thing, but he came out on top. Somebody's always watching you. So that's why you have to be careful how you respond to things, and you've got to be careful how you deal with things, because somebody is always watching you. And so when Les Brown says you got to do it for you, you've got to become courageous to stand up within yourself, to face it and step forward. Yes, you do, because number one, you owe it to yourself not to sit back and allow life to just stomp all over you, because if you're not careful, that's exactly what's going to happen. Not only will life stomp all over you, but other people will. But again, that's a whole nother video for a whole nother time. So no matter what you're going through right now, I need you to stand up, square your shoulders, hold your head up, and you say, you know what? I can do this. I can get out of this. I can get over this slump that I'm in. I'm not going to sit here and rot away at the bottom of the valley. No, I'm going to keep climbing until I get back to the top, and then go over whatever that mountain is in your life, because you deserve it. All right. Next quote is by Eric Thomas. And he says, and some of you have allowed adversity to make you stop. And I'm telling you right now, don't give up. I'm telling you right now, don't give in. Get through it. Execute, in the midst of adversity. Execute. You are going to get through this. You're going to get up. You are going to get dressed. You're going to get out, and you're going to do what you've been called to do. Come on, somebody. Did you notice that he didn't say you're going to do what your neighbor asked you to do or your pastor told you to do? He says you're going to go out there and you are going to do what you've been called to do. You need to know what is it that you've been called to do. See, I know what my calling in life is. Hopefully you know what yours is. And if you don't, then maybe we need to have a conversation about that. But you need to get up, no matter where you are in your life right now, and do what you've been called to do. He says you're going to be what you're called to be, and you're going to prove to everybody that tried to break you, everybody that tried to kill your dream, you're going to prove all of them wrong. And if you can work through your pain, he says, I'm guaranteeing you on the other side is a reward. And I love it, because he has a whole video where he talks about how on the other side of your pain is a reward. But in order to get to that reward, you've got to keep pushing forward. You can't let life just punch you to the ground, to just beat you to your knees. You've got to keep pushing forward, because there is a reward on the other side of your pain. He said pain is not permanent. pain is temporary. It's just like, have you ever experienced a toothache? You know how painful that can be, right? Well, it's a permanent thing, because as soon as you can get in to see your dentist, he or she is going to fill that cavity or do a root canal or pull that tooth, and then the pain is gone. When you have a headache, it's usually a temporary thing, and as soon as you take your Aleve or whatever it is that you take for pain, that's what I take, it's gone. Or whatever that thing is that's causing you to have a headache, once that thing is gone, or it's out of your sight anyway, then that headache temporarily will automatically just go away for the most part, unless you've got something else going on. You experience the pain of watching a loved one suffer. It's not permanent. You know why? Because at some point, God is going to see fit to call that loved one on home, and then they will be out of the pain and the misery they were experiencing here on this earth. So I love when he says that pain is temporary. The pain of having to work for a supervisor that you just can't stand, and maybe they can't stand you either, it's temporary. Because eventually you're going to get another job, or they're going to retire, or they're going to get another job, and you won't have to be bothered with that person anymore. It may be a coworker that you can't stand. It's only temporary. It might be that your kids are at an awkward phase in their lives where they're going through some stuff. It's temporary. See, that's why I keep my family, both far and near, I keep them lifted up in prayer every day. Every morning, every evening, I write them in my prayer journal, because I ask God to keep his hands on my family. But I ask God to keep his hands and continue to bless all of his children, no matter who you are, where you live. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter whether we're related or not. My goal is for God to continue to bless you and to keep you. Or if you have a loved one that's going through some stuff, I'm asking God to touch that person, to heal them, so that they can run on and tell the world what God has done for them. Have people looking at them going, how in the world did you get past that? You ever have a time, or if you ever watch somebody who was going through some stuff and it looked so bad that you didn't think that they would ever get past it, and one day you woke up and they were in a different place, and you thought, my God, that had to be nothing but the Lord, because there's no way in this world that they could have gotten through that by themselves. It had to have been God. And I'm sure you looked at your own life and you thought the same thing. And you sat back, hopefully you sat back and you said, Lord, thank you so much, because there's no way I could have done this by myself, but you, God. So all I'm saying to you as we wrap this up is that pain is temporary. It did not come to stay. See, I believe that pain means a lot of things. Pain is the body's way of letting you know that something is wrong and you need to go see about whatever that thing is. Oh, here comes Studio B. Or pain has a way of getting your attention. Because without, did y'all see Studio B just drive by? My dad has my other truck. But anyway, have you've ever noticed that without that pain, you would still be with that person that was causing you pain, but the pain got so great you had to let him or her go. Pain comes for a reason. And so anytime I've ever had to deal with pain, I say, Lord, I've dealt with this pain. Let me learn something from it. I don't know about you all, but I want to have learned something from it. So as I get ready to wrap this up, I just want to remind you that pain is temporary. It is not permanent. It did not come to stay. And if you don't give up and you keep pushing forward, I promise you, on the other side of pain is your reward. But if you give up, you'll never get there to get it. Okay? So I want you to let that marinate in your spirit just a little bit. I don't know who's going through something, and it doesn't matter what it is that you're dealing with. Just know that I am praying right now that God would touch you and heal your situation as only He can, that you may run on and tell the world what He has done for you. Make sure you thank Him, though. Make sure you thank God. And then if possible, you play it forward to be a blessing to someone else. Listen, you guys, that's my time. If you're new to watch my videos, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. If this is not your first rodeo, I want to say welcome back. Y'all know that I miss you and I don't get a chance to see you. Go out there, enjoy the rest of your Saturday, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I lost my train of thought. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. But whatever you do, just remember that pain is not permanent. It did not come to stay. I love you all, and we'll talk again on Monday.